over here, so we'll be listening to what he has to say. But before all that, I would like to tell you some few achievements that he has already achieved so far. So, ladies and gentlemen, our first speaker today is a visionary global entrepreneur arriving to India from San Francisco of United States of America. Meet Mr. Mahesh Lingareddy, who convinced Sachin Tendulkar to bet on Smartron, a IoT startup. The story of Mahesh ji is one of focus and determination. He is one of those entrepreneurs who is technically skilled and at the same time knows what it takes to make a brand or product out of India. It all started after Mahesh ji graduated with an engineering degree from Andhra University in 1997 and followed it up with an MSc from the University of Toledo in Ohio, USA. He then moved to the Bay Area to work for Intel, while at the same time working on several side projects. His knowledge of core engineering brought him into contact with Mohammed Abdullaji, a Jordanian with whom he founded Soft Machines in 2006, which worked on semiconductor IP and built system on chip sold to Intel. Sources estimate that Soft Machines was sold for a good rupees 2,000 crore. As Mahesh ji says, we have a lot to learn from China. 20 years ago, they were the same as us, and now they have brands in technology that have grown global. There is a need to build an IP company out of India. Very few of them exist in India at the moment. So, ladies and gentlemen, we present Mr. Mahesh Lingareddy ji, founder and chairman, Smartron India Private Limited, as he is set to speak on making of a global brand, challenges and opportunities. A big round of applause for our speaker, please. Can we have on screen?
Hello all, good morning everyone. Thanks for joining us today. Sorry I couldn't be meet one person due to COVID travel restrictions and last minute flight cancellations. I want to thank Satya for pulling this together. I know in this COVID times it's not easy, and also I'm honored to brand almost 5 years now. So I thought of sharing some of our experiences. Obviously there are tremendous opportunities. At the same time, there are challenges in building a global brand. It's a different kind of beast. It requires a different kind of DNA, a bigger risk appetite, longer time horizon. It could take 10 years or even longer. So it's a bit different from building a services company or a manufacturing company. But its opportunities are big. We felt there was a tremendous opportunity to build India-based. The reason being, if you look at the top 100 global brands, there are none from India. I mean, one could argue Reliance and Tata should be in that list, but perhaps they're not as well recognized outside India. But nonetheless, if you look at the top 100 brands, there are none from India. Even if you look at the top 20-25 technology brands, it's the same scenario. You don't have a recognizable global brand from India. It's mostly from US or Europe. immediately you can see that companies from China creeping in. You see Tencent, Baiju, Xiaomi, Huawei, Lenovo. So there are, quite a few companies now coming out of China as they shifted their focus from manufacturing to more building brands, building product-driven, technology-driven companies. And you look at the next slide. It sort of shows the next slide. Next slide. So it shows, it kind of correlates with the brands. Next slide. So the number of patents filed by different countries. You'll see that a lot of the patents, was dominated by China and US, and we are relying on China. And next slide, it is one of my favorite slides. Next slide, Bharat. It's one of my favorite slides. This is a long slide. It sort of shows number of employees and employees per revenue per employee, or kind of market valuation per employee. I think I always tell that product-driven brands create disproportionate wealth and value. So if you look at TCS or Infosys, their revenue per employee is about $40,000-50,000 US. It sort of linearly scales with the number of employees, as opposed to if you look at Google or Apple or Microsoft, they generate millions of dollars of revenue per employee because they take risk and they invest in some R&D product, and if the product succeeds, they are able to generate disproportionate returns on their investment. For example, iPhone. And then you have manufacturing companies like Foxconn, Samsung is hybrid. Again, they are not as good as product companies, but certainly better than services. So I think all these sort of indicate. I know we've been focusing on services. Of course, lately we've been focusing on manufacturing. I think it is time for us to think about with this sort of thoughts in mind. Next slide. We so this, I think this slide shows again the number of brands out of China versus, let's say, number of brands India. Of course, lately we are doing better. It's the likes of Flipkart, Paytm, or there are others coming out, but China is way ahead of us. Next slide. So these are some of the thoughts, one of the motivations for founding Smartron almost 5 years ago. Smartron was founded with that vision to build and focus on India-based OEM and IoT brand. And we began our journey a little over 5 years ago. Next slide. What we have done is, we had to deploy a lot of capital in R&D, developing technologies, developing products over the last 5 years. We have developed a wide range of products, from smartphones, laptops, e-bikes, smart home devices, wearable bands, all connected to and powered by our own IoT platform called Tronics. This is, sort of a different, challenging undertaking because it requires to deploy a lot of the risk capital without knowing which product will succeed in the market. Like smartphones, a lot of competition, but some of the other products have done well, and we are focusing on those products now. So midway through, we have really built a lot of different technologies and really leveraged some of the advanced big technologies like 5G, IoT, AI, robotics, kind of technologies. Next 5 years, obviously, the journey will continue. The next 5 years, we are focused on smart home, uh, where we feel there is an opportunity to differentiate through end-to-end solutions and services. It's not just hardware; it's the hardware, the software, the platform, providing sort of the end-to-end solution where you can do energy management, or safety, security, different kind of experiences. So the customer experience becomes more valuable. We're also focused on EV and energy storage. We have several e-bikes that we have developed over the last 3 years, where we have, these are our own designs. We are targeting the ride share and the logistics and delivery markets. A good example here is, 3 years ago when we launched the product, even though it's our design, we were manufacturing most of it in China. But over the last year and a half, we have shifted the entire manufacturing to India. Also, we're able to create and work with various manufacturing ecosystem partners. We're able to now today do the entire hardware, the software, the IoT connectivity, everything in-house in India, and exporting these e-bikes to other countries from Kenya to Ethiopia to Mexico to Bhutan. So I think it's a very good example of investing and pushing, not just in India but outside as well. So we see a tremendous opportunity to monetize our Comics platform and really focus on delivering end-to-end solutions and services for a variety of markets, from smart home to smart cities to energy storage and e-bikes and whatnot. And we will continue to deploy a lot more capital. Really, we see a tremendous opportunity in the next 5 years. Really differentiating through what we call sort of 360-degree customer experience, not just hardware, but really focus on end-to-end experience to the customer, hardware, software, and services. And as I mentioned, I think we just have to find ways to push our products in other markets as well. We are preparing to launch some other products in the US. We have Qualcomm 4G, 5G license. We are called the only company with Google Chrome OS license. So we are building and positioning some of the products in the US market. The timing is very interesting now because of the current geopolitical dynamic with China. US companies are starting to look for alternatives to China. So that's where I think it's an opportunity, not just for Smartron, but now these companies from India can target now the US and other markets. Challenges, of course, are always going to be there. I think it's no different, but I think from our experience and my own personal perspective, like 2-3 areas where we can improve and can focus on improving. Number one being the investment infrastructure or the investment ecosystem. I think we need to have domestic venture capital ecosystem that can pump in $15-20 billion a year. We really want to support 5,000 to 10,000 companies and want to see 10 to 15 global brands in the next decade. I think currently a lot of the infrastructure, sort of the innovation culture, I think there's a lot of progress in the entrepreneurship, people wanting to work in startups, all that are trending in the right direction. We can certainly look at simplifying some of the compliance overheads and some of the labor laws or IP and other things to minimize the overhead for startups and be able to operate freely. And I think we can look at some tax breaks to create level playing field for Indian companies. Because a lot of the hardware companies coming from China, we don't know, how and where they're getting their capital and how they're able to get very cheap capital. Certainly, it's a disadvantage for Indian companies. And the last being, product development ecosystem. We still are at the beginning of creating an ecosystem of capabilities. For instance, if you want to do a device, it's so easy to do it in China because various companies there to provide the support. Whereas in India, we are still at the early stages where there are some challenges, but I'm sure over the next 5 to 10 years, it will have a very strong local ecosystem as well on this. So, of course, the challenges are there, but I think it's a time for us to focus on building many product and platform-driven company. With that, thank you so much. Again, I'm very sorry for not being able to attend in person with the COVID situation. Thank you for your time.
That was Mr. Mahesh Lingareddy, who had joined us virtually. I would like to thank him for giving us insightful talk. Now I request Dr. Satya Brahma on stage to present a memento as a token of respect to Mr. Mahesh Lingareddy and his team.
I would like to invite on stage, there are two managing directors of his group company, Mr. Alok and Mr. Bharat. If you could both come. And I will request Mr. Alok, who is actually the technical, yeah, please. Thank you, yeah. You stay here, you stay here. So also, you will just take it, yeah. Yes, right. So, the story of Mahesh is a story of hard work and innovation. I remember the time when he met Sachin Tendulkar. In fact, I had a discussion with Sachin also, and Sachin told how he got interested in Mahesh's project. This is world's first e-bike, and I'm telling Alok to ride over it, and after that he'll give a small note on how it looks like. So you can both pedal and you can also do that, yeah. And I request you, if you could speak from there, a little bit about it.
Good afternoon to all. So just a few words about the bike. This was India's first smart electric bike, which we launched it back in 2017. Smart connected apps, like how much calories you have burned, what was your riding time, how much were you in electric mode, and how much you were pedaling mode. And the best part of the bike was it's built using aircraft grade aluminium, which is first in its country, and also very few bikes in the world get recognized to be built with the material. And it comes with a smart lock and a smart app where it has a tracker and get all the data analytics of the whole bike, battery pack, motor temperature, etc. So this was a very new kind of a breed of a product when we brought it back in 2017. And now we have multiple more products which we are focusing more towards micro mobility, especially in the B2B segmentation of PBS, adventure rides, e-commerce delivery, food delivery, etc.
What is the back-end service that you would like to give it for this? Because the market is also getting crowded with too many players coming into this segment because of the pollutions and environment ministry giving a clear-cut guidelines. How do you address those issues?
The best way to handle it, I would say, is we have invested hugely on R&D.
How much was the money that was invested?
So closely, today the Smartron group has invested close to $30 million into the whole R&D and the company, and we have already gone crossed with $50 million of revenue till date. And we are expanding also, we are also having presence in 5 countries with our bikes just during the pandemic itself. This shows the success, how we are growing, and we are more.
How do you look at that dream to come into reality? Because I know fully that Mahesh very well, that he wants to build truly India's global product, and he wants to make it something like Samsung, which India has not yet developed actually. How it will be reality actually?
See, the first stepping stone is we have built products and we have proven to the world that our products are successful of last couple of years. And the most important thing to go towards there is stay consistent and stay productive and give products at a very affordable prices, which will give us a huge value for money, especially when you have a lot of import products coming outside of India. So, and it has worked in last 3 years, and now we are expanding very aggressively. So year on year, if you see, our growth is 10x. So that's where we are heading.
So what would be the price for it actually?
See, this bike was launched initially at an introductory price of 50,000 rupees in India, but the competing products globally are at 5,000 euros. So that's how we scale down the product cost of the specs what we are giving on a global market. But for Indian market, still there is no product in last 4 years which is still able to beat us on the specs. So
How many units you have sold it so far, both in
new bike which we have built for the same spec is for 30,000 rupees. So that's how we are improving on our product portfolios.
Would you be giving a special price for those at India Leadership Conclave? Are you in a position to declare that? Can you give the half the price or some sort of figures that you have in mind if somebody wants to have it?
Yeah, definitely.
I won't ask for free, so.
Definitely, if there is volumes, we will, because we are more now into B2B, because we are more into the volume, so that makes easier for us to manage service and support all around India as well. Yeah.
Right. So what I'll do actually I'll give you the list of the people who have come over here.
Sure.
So that you can give them a special offer.
Sure.
Because my intention is to make everyone accessible to this e-bike
Sure.
and goodies.
Yeah.
And I hope you won't overcharge it, because I'm against that one, because it's the first Make in India product.
Yeah.
And thank you very much for having us.
Thank you, Satya.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Please come.
Moving on, our next speaker today is someone who will be an inspiration to many